Okay, this is going to pick up from the same stuff, sorry. All right, so what we need to do here is if you're at this screen, the run screen, if you hit Shift Menu and go down and turn the complex mode onto A plus BI. That way it gives you complex answers. Okay. All right, then you can just exit out of that. But when I do square root of negative 49, I get 7i. Okay, so an answer there would be 0 plus 7i, or just 7i. Either answer would be acceptable. Okay, that's the complex part. Okay, all right. So when you get down to these, take the square roots of these numbers. So square root of negative 75 divided by 2. Okay, so if you notice, I got 6.12i. So once again, just like the other ones, make sure you're reducing that. Okay, all right. So what you're going to do here with that is I can go ahead and put the I outside. All right, and I'm not going to worry about it after that. All right. So what you do with you have square root of 75 with the square root of 2. What you can do is multiply by the top and the bottom. So that's square root of 150 over the square root of 4. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and reduce that over here, but the concept is square root of 4 would be 2. Okay. All right. Square root of 150. I'm going to treat it just like it's a regular square root. So 2 and 75, 5 and I'm sorry, not 5, 3 and 25. 5 and 5. Here's my pair. Can't use those anymore. Okay, those are my leftovers. So that leftover would be 2 times 3 in here, which would be 6. And then I'm going to have 5 on the outside. Okay, now let's see if I'm right. Okay, so 5. All right, option complex lets you get the I. So 5i 6 divided by 2. And you notice it's the same answer. So that way you know you're not making a mistake. Okay, going down here to these. Okay, once again, I'm going to do square root of negative 180. All right, 13.4i. Okay, all right, so I know that i's got to be involved in my answer here. Okay, all right, so 180. Okay, 180 it'll be 2 and 90. Okay, 2 and 45. Actually, I'm going to do reduce the 180 over here. Okay, I got 2 and 90, 2 and 45, 3 and 15, okay, 3 and 5. So here are my pairs. Okay, my leftover is 5, so inside I'm going to have 5. On the outside I would have 2 times 3, which would be 6. Okay, all right, to reduce those, same deal. 2 divided would be 2, remainder of 1, so it's x squared, x to the first. 6 divided by 2 would just be 3, so it's going to be y to the 3 on the outside. So that's my answer. Once again, if I want to figure out the numerical part, whether that's right, just do 6. All right, you need to put 6i if you want. All right, square root of 5. Okay, so just avoid the variables. And if you notice, it's the same thing we got from before. Okay, moving on here to 39, same deal. I'm going to do 3 square root of negative 98. Okay, times, all right, actually let me use the parenthesis deal like they do. All right, square root of negative 98, and I got square root of negative 6. All right, and I get that. Now if you notice, do I have an I there? No, so there is no I, so I should end up with negative 72.7. All right, so from an I standpoint, we're not going to even worry about it at this point. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, that's going to be 3 square root of, all right, 3 square root of 98 times 6, which is 588, okay, 588. Now I'm going to go reduce that 3 square root of 588 over here, okay, so I know that I have to have 3 involved in there somewhere. All right, that's going to be 2, and I got to use the calculator, such a big number, 588 divided by 2, okay, that's going to be 294. All right, divided by 2 would be 192, not 192, 147, I believe. Divided by 2 would be 147. Okay. Okay, 147 divided by 2 I don't think works. Let's try 147 divided by 3. Yep, 3 and 49. Okay, and then 7 and 7. So here's a pair, here's a pair. So from this, I've got this 3, that 2, that 7, and the 3 that's not circled, okay? So what I got there is, in the end, I've got 3 times 2, which is 6, times 7 is 42. I got 42, square root of 3. I'm going to go ahead and put a little negative out front, okay? And because I know my answer has to end with a negative, all right? So what you should do is if you get the negative, you sort of should know that that's going to end with that, and that matches up, okay? Let's go ahead to this one. Square root of negative 24, all right, minus 2, square root of negative 54. So I know my answer, look at this, negative 9.79i. So i's got to be involved in the answer, okay? I's got to be involved in the answer. So for each of these individual ones, okay, so for this square root, I know I'm going to have an I out there. So 24, square root of 24, all right, 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. All right, here's a pair. All right, so I'm going to have 2i, square root of, this is the inside part, which would be 6, okay? To reduce 54, all right, 54 is 2 and 27, all right, 3 and 9, 3 and 3. Here's my pair. So that's going to be minus, all right, and then I got the 2 out there. So I'm going to have, when I reduce that one, I'm going to have the 2 from the original times my pair with 2 times 3 on the inside. So I'm going to have minus 6i, okay, square root of 6. Now, when I combine those, that's going to be minus 4i square root of 6, okay? All right. So let's see if that ends up working out there. Negative 4i square root of 6. Okay, that exact answer that I got is what I have right there. Okay, these other ones are pretty easy. All right, so if you're ever at this screen, all right, option complex allows you to type in the I. So it's just I to the 35, which is negative I. Pretty simple. Okay. I'm going to erase this so we don't get confused. Okay. I to the 42 is negative 1. Pretty easy. Okay, let's go up to 43. Okay, all this is right now is just typing stuff into the calculator. Okay, so it's just like almost like freebies. Negative 6 plus 2i. All right, minus 3 minus 7i. Okay, so that's negative 9 plus 9i. That's that problem. Okay, that next one is negative 2, okay, plus 3i. All right, and then negative 1 minus 4i. Okay, so that's 14 plus 5i. Okay, and then 45. Okay, 45. 2i, 7 plus 3i, okay, plus 1 minus 4i. Okay, negative 5 plus 10i. Okay, and then this last one here, this 46. Oh, there's 2 more actually. 46. All right, 3 minus 2i squared. Okay, it's 5 minus 12i. Which is, all right, so that's 5 minus 12i. Okay, and this last one is 5 plus 3i. And 5 minus 3i is 34. Okay. Moving on to these. Okay, if I go to graph this one, okay, all right, if you have issues with graphing, okay, just go to your calculator, go to menu and graph, okay, 2x plus 5, draw, all right, F3, exit, draw, all right, G-solve root is at negative 2.5, so I can go ahead and mark that like right here, all right, G-solve y-intercept is at 5. Okay, so what I have is, I have this, okay? Now, since this is a line, I know that's negative infinity, negative infinity. This is positive infinity, positive infinity. So the domain, smallest x is negative infinity, biggest x is that, so I know my domain is all real numbers. The range, my smallest one is negative infinity, my biggest one is positive. So my range is all real numbers. Okay? See if there's anything else there. No, that's good for there. All right? This one, okay, once again, if I want to graph that, all right, I got x squared minus 3, okay, and I'm drawing it. G-solve, I can do minimum. That's 0, negative 3, 1, 2, and 3. For our purposes, this is all we really need to know. So that's negative infinity, positive. This is positive, positive. This is 0, negative 3, okay? So my domain, the smallest of all my x's is negative infinity. The biggest is that, so that's going to be all real numbers. My smallest y is negative 3. My biggest y is that. So that's eating the y, so that's going to be y's greater than negative 3. The zeros, okay? G-solve root, negative 1.7 and 1.7. Okay, you can just use the decimals. All right, so that's going to be 1.7 comma 0, negative 1.7 comma 0. We already got the y-intercept. Okay, where is it increasing? Okay, for increasing, decreasing, all we care about is the x's. So it's 0 to infinity. Okay, 0 to infinity, it's doing that. From negative infinity to that, it's doing that. We already know the end behaviors, they're both going up. Okay, so that's those. All right, find g of f of x. Okay, so g is x squared minus 3. F is 2x plus 5. Okay, and I will finish those. I have a class about to start, so I will finish those in a little bit.